Instructional driving video number 2. Going around this curve here, you can't see what's coming up, so it's always good to hang to the extreme right if you can, because you never know if someone is coming around that curve. They may be off center a little bit or across the center line, and they may run into you, causing you to have to swerve off real fast. It's always better to put your car off the side of the road than to hit somebody. Like you may have to drive off into the grass, but don't drive down into a ditch, because that could, unless you absolutely have to. So always be careful when going around curves. So right now it's about 10:30 in the morning, and usually traffic around in between the hours of 6 and 9 is a lot of traffic, because that's called rush hour traffic, and also from about 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening is rush hour traffic. So you'll have a little bit more problems there. Let me back up a minute, because I passed up a sign. That sign right there says caution, and as you know, well, for some reason it's not being focused, but that is telling me to keep caution here, because I'm coming up to an intersection in which they have a yield sign over there. So a lot of people, sometimes they won't care, they'll just fly right through a yield sign. And the rule with yield signs means that when you're coming up to a sign that says yield and it's in your lane, it means you slow down or stop for vehicles that are in the other lane. A yield sign not only means slow down, but it can also mean stop, even though it's not a stop sign. But a yield sign also says you must stop if there's cars that are coming. It means you yield to the right of way for the oncoming traffic or the traffic that's merging with you. And remember about these hills, like this one that's coming up. Like right now I'm in the middle of the road, that's bad. So what you do is you move over to the right hand side, and slow down too, because there could be someone coming over the top of that hill that could be past the center line or even in your lane. And I will say this much: if you see someone that is coming at you and there is no way for you to avoid hitting them, slow down as much as you possibly can, the fastest way, slam the brakes on, and then steer to whatever direction that you can avoid them. Even if you have to go and drive in the opposite lane, you stay clear of that, okay? You don't want to hit someone if you can avoid it. I'm entering a highway right now, and there's cars not coming, so I'm going to go ahead and go and give the signal, which I did not do, okay? So I'm going to bring the speed up. I got a car coming up behind me at highway speed, and I'm gaining speed, but he's still going to go around me, because he's not a good driver, because a good driver would have just slowed down and allowed me to speed back up. See, now he's driving in the left-hand lane, which here in Missouri is against the law, because it's made for passing cars only. And see, there's a truck off on the side of the road that has a flashing lights, and he's in the wrong lane, but he did slow down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slow down a little bit to allow this guy to get in front of me, so that I don't have to watch him all the time. And so I'm doing 60, and in a few seconds they'll probably move back over in front of me like they did, and they're using their signal, which is a good deal. I'm going to slow down a little bit to give myself some distance. I'm going to now engage cruise control, and I have it set for 62 miles per hour. Just like the speed limit on this highway is 65. That doesn't mean that you have to do 65 miles per hour. That's just the limit. If you find yourself comfortable doing like 60, that's fine. I mean, if you're in no hurry, slow down a little bit. It saves gas. And also, allows you to have more reaction time the slower you go. The problem going too slow on a highway is if there's a lot of traffic and they're passing you because you're going slower than they are, then that creates a traffic hazard. So when there's more than a lot of cars on the highway, you need to keep up with the speed that everybody is going, unless it's too much speed, like over the speed limit. But you become just as dangerous to people that are driving too fast as if you're driving too slow in the middle of a traffic pattern. You want to at least go with the flow. That's the general term. As you see, I'm coming up to an overpass, which means there's an entry ramp coming into the highway. Now, what you want to do is look at the ramp and see if there's any cars coming, so that, because sometimes right here where it enters the freeway, they'll pull out in front of you, or they'll have to slow down because they're not slowing down on the ramp so they can come in behind you. They want to sit there. That means sometimes you'll have to move over to the other lane just to avoid any confrontation. 65 miles an hour sign there. Looking in my side mirrors and my mirror there and there. And I see a truck on the side of the road, so I'm going to move over just to avoid, because you never know what could happen with that, because they could open their door and get out, and then you have a door sticking out in your lane. It's always best to move over. If you see a car on the side of the road, move over, slow down, move over, and get out of that lane. Especially if it is an emergency vehicle, like an ambulance, a fire truck, a wrecker, or whatever. Especially police. Always move over if you can. Depending on which side of the road they're on, you move the opposite direction and you slow down. Sometimes you can be ticketed for not slowing down or moving over. And you're only putting the officer's life in jeopardy when you don't move over or you don't slow down, because if you didn't move over, you'd be less than 5 feet away from the parked cars. And all it takes for someone just to turn around and walk out in front of you because they're not watching, then you hit somebody doing 65 miles an hour, you're going to kill them instantly. And so you want to do that. You want to move over. I got people here that are passing me, but since the traffic flow is not extremely heavy, I'm not so worried that I'm doing 3 miles an hour below the speed limit. If they feel that they need to go faster than me, then they can go around me. That's what the purpose of that lane is for. So it's a nice day. It's clear traffic. You can see a long way ahead of you, so that's one thing that's good about daytime driving on a good day, is you can see anything that might become a problem way ahead of you. And as it is, everything is going pretty good right now. I won't be going very far on this drive because I'm going to another one of the companies I work at to do some work. So it'll be a shorter video than the first one. And this is a very windy day, so you also have to be careful with wind, because it can push your car around and cause you to lose control. Especially when you get a strong wind gust that makes you, it might scare you, or it might catch you off guard, and you don't want to panic. As I say, we're coming up to another overpass, and that means that there's going to be another entry ramp coming up to me. So I'm going to start scanning the ramp a little bit and seeing if there's any emerging traffic, of which there isn't. You can also look at your side mirrors, and if they have the little mirrors that are on the mirror, that kind of gives you a wider view. That's good. A wider view of the road. That's good too. Right there, it's telling me that this is Highway 60 West, and that way you can keep track of where you're at in case you had to call somebody, like a police or emergency vehicle to come and get you, or maybe your mom. So that guy there is exceeding the speed limit, because that's more than 3 miles an hour faster than me. So in my car though, if I do 55 or 70, I still get about the same amount of miles per gallon. But in the Jeep or whatever car you're going to be driving, doing the speed limit or a little bit slower will help save gas, since I believe the Jeep only gets about 18 miles per gallon. The rule of thumb is for every 5 miles per hour you go faster, you start using either about 10% more fuel. And with today's gas prices, that can be kind of high. I've got a bunch of cars coming up on me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and increase my speed to 65, which I just did by the cruise control settings. And these people are still passing me. But since I'm doing the speed limit, I'm not going to worry about them going around me because they're moving into the left-hand lane. And so this guy here moved over a little bit too soon, so effectively he cut me off. What they should do is they should go up at least about 100 to 200 feet ahead of you before they move. And you see this right here? Right here, this is a traffic hazard because this guy is not moving and I don't know what he's doing, and he's right beside me, and that can be a pain, that can cause a problem. It's kind of like getting into a locked traffic pattern. And all of a sudden this guy here is slowing down, so I'm going to slow down myself to let all these cars pass me and to let them, you don't want to be in a group of cars that's traveling at high speed. All it takes is the mistake of one driver for everyone to have a multiple car collision, and there would be bad news for the 3-car pileup right here. Especially if it's raining or it's been icing or snow on the ground, you want to stay as far back from people as possible, because there would be no way that you could slow your car down on an icy road. You'd just slip and slide, and you'd slide right into them. So now that everybody's away from me, I can go back up to whatever speed it is I feel comfortable with, which I'm going to set it at about 63, which is, I don't need to do 65 because I'm in no hurry for one. So all those group of cars there, they're still all together. And all it takes is someone to look down at their cell phone, look down at the radio to change a station. And if you've noticed or text, you don't want to text while driving. I mean, although I'm doing a video while driving, I have my phone up where I'm looking at the road and I'm not having to look at the phone very often to see what's going on. But my exit is coming up here, so I'll be looking in my mirror to see who's coming up on me, because when I start giving my signal to get off the highway, I want to make sure that they know that I'm getting off. So I'm going to give the signal approximately 500 feet or about a quarter of a mile, 500 feet before my exit. So that gives everyone behind me a chance to see that the signal is on, for them to make their appropriate actions, such as moving over to the other lane or slowing down. So I'm approaching the exit here pretty soon. The wind is pushing the car around, so I'm having to be kind of careful here. So right now, that's my exit. So I'm going to go ahead. I've just now turned my signal on, and I'm about 1/4 of a mile before it. But doing 63 miles per hour, it's only going to take around 15 to 18 seconds to get there. So it doesn't hurt to give your signal someone in advance. But you don't want to do it too far, because people might think that you're not going to do what you're saying you are by using your signal. So now I'm getting off. The sign right there says exit 40 miles per hour. So that means by the end of the deceleration line, which is this yellow, or I don't know which one it is, probably the yellow line, you're supposed to be doing 40 by the time you get at the ramp. But I don't always do that. I generally just let off the gas and coast up to the stop sign. And remember, when you come up to a stop sign, you must stop in front of the stop sign. Don't stop out here past the stop sign and stop, because technically that means you have ran the stop sign and you can get a ticket for that. Look both ways, and I'm fixing to turn right here, so I'm going to give my signal, which I did not do a minute ago, and turn. Okay, so also lot of people say, well, I stopped at the stop sign. I said, no, you stopped 20 feet past the stop sign. Even though if you stop by the stop sign, and once you stop, then you can proceed through the stop sign and stop again once you get up to the intersection. Because there's a lot of times when you stop at the stop sign, you can't see the traffic that's coming on the opposite direction. So you have to move up to the intersection to look. So there's no problem in doing that as long as you stop first at the stop sign and then proceed a little bit and go to where you can see both ways. So like at a red light, people don't stop in the middle of the intersection. They stop in front of the red light. So, but a stop sign is no different than a red light. It means stop. So here I am at the place where I'm going, which is one of my other companies I work at, which is very, 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 very dirty inside, greasy and oily, which I hate. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and park, and I will be back once again in an evening drive when I leave work or whenever I leave again. And we'll do another video about safe driving. Once again, have a wonderful day. And see, I'm having to look behind me to do this parking, so it's kind of, sometimes it's hard to do if you got a lot of stuff in your way. And so anyway, all right there. So that's another video of the day, and I hope you have a great day. Once again, be safe. Bye.